How's it going, everybody? We did get a Warriors Den this week. It is to detail the launch of the Wrath of Jormungandr event that launched yesterday. This is a mid-season event built around the Jormungandr season for Year 3, Season 3. This event game mode is a twist on Breach, where they've added in the giant serpent of Jormungandr, and in addition to that, they've added a very powerful hammer that you can loot in the match. This changes your attacks, so that you now get a very strong single target light attack, as well as a very, very powerful one-shotting AoE ability on your heavy attack. In addition to the hammer, they have added some changes that they're using to test how Breach matches work. They've lowered the respawn time down to 20 seconds, and it's no longer increased based on your bounty. They've also removed tickets from Phase 1 and 2, so as long as there's a ram alive, you have unlimited tickets. And the ram is no longer healed after passing through the first gate. The attackers will receive tickets at the start of Phase 3, so the Lord phase, based on the amount of health that the ram has when it breaks the second gate. If you have 10%, you get 6 tickets, 50% HP is 14 tickets, and 90% or greater is 18 tickets. That means you have 18 lives to kill the Lord with. I've only played a little bit of this game mode, but it is pretty fun. The hammer is a great addition. I just wish the spawns were more random. People seem to pick up very quickly on where the spawns were on each stage, which means people go and camp them when the serpent comes up. It has its own downsides. That said, my first time seeing the serpent absolutely blew my mind. That is such a wonderful event. It's breathtaking. So being an event, we also have event cosmetics. There is an execution that includes the hammer. It is called the Rampage of Ragnarok. It is a every character execution, so regardless of what you play, you can now wield Thor's hammer and the power of lightning to execute your enemies. There's an illustrious outfit for all 4 factions that you can go ahead and pick up. It is a serpent. They kind of took some creative liberty there, so it's not exactly from history, but you know, it fits the character. And as with these large events there is an event bundle that you can purchase for 30,000 steel that does decrease in price when you earn the earnable cosmetics. So if you do want to purchase everything for a single character, be sure to earn the loot first, because it is 22,500, I believe. 22,500 steel for all cosmetics for a character, including the execution, but only if you unlock everything first. Otherwise, they are 30,000 steel. For the earnable cosmetics, we do have an effect called Hulda's Wrath. This throws some runes up around your character and then explodes. This is available for the idle emote and execution. There's also a battle outfit called Stor's Champion. It has a defender color pattern on it. And as a third earnable cosmetic, there is an ornament called Stor's Medallion. I'm not a huge fan of that. Maybe you are, but nonetheless, it's earnable in-game. Then there is a series of weapons that can be looted from this. All of these are snake-themed, largely with a steel and blue kind of a vibe to them, fitting with the bluish serpent and the Jormungandr game mode. And those are available for all heroes, all 22 of them, so anything you want to go pick up. Actually, I suppose 23 now, meaning you get 3 new weapons, 3 new effects, a battle outfit, and a forehead coin for 23 characters. A lot of loot to collect, and thankfully that's not too much of a bad thing. The loot drops are fairly good. I've been getting a lot of drops from Arcade, and even the couple of Breach matches I've played, I've gotten quite a few of these cosmetic drops. So it shouldn't be too impossible to actually collect everything. On top of that, next week, if you don't finish out all of your collections this week, there's a double loot fest, which will increase your loot drops for these cosmetic drops. Should make for a wonderful time, given that last season we didn't get the double loot drops that we were supposed to, which would have made life a little bit easier. And as a reminder, those of you who don't have champion status, go ahead and pick that up, at least for the event, because it does greatly increase your loot drops for these cosmetic drops. So if it's something you're interested in, go ahead and get it. As a non-event related piece of news, we did get an update from the developers on the color swatch problem. A couple of color swatches were changed around on what colors they present on what parts of the character. This ruined quite a few outfits that people had made, causing some backlash. They did give us a statement on this, I believe Wednesday, and then they reiterated that statement during the Warriors Den. They claimed that they were making these changes because the color swatches were actually bugged and they weren't giving the intended look to outfits. But we have had these outfits the way they are for quite a long time, so they will be reverting them to the outfits we know and love. That way anyone who paid money for something that to look a specific way won't be losing the thing that they've earned. This will be coming in the next title update, so whenever they get around to that, I believe the next title update is slated for the new season, so we're looking at like a month and a half out here, but it will be being corrected. Then for the part 2 of the Warriors Den stream, we did get some testing grounds feedback. That is for the Centurion, the Gladiator, and the Warlord. So to start with, we have Centurion. The removal of the cutscene was well received. The lights are actually useful, and the new jab is a much improved, much nicer thing to play with, both as Centurion and against Centurion. There was a significant part of feedback that said that the new light jab was too annoying, that being where people would throw out a quick attack, then throw out a light jab, then another quick attack. They're planning to fix that the wall splat doesn't always guarantee a charged heavy. And then as the mentions that aren't exactly a specific change, the parry punish does feel bad, and they will be tweaking it. They're looking into how, because there's a bit of give and take on that. The guard break vulnerability on heavy will be looked into as well. And as a final mention for Centurion, they're looking at the Eagle's Talon damage. They do see that some people are saying 35 is too low for the punish on the Eagle's Talon, and some people are saying 45 is too high. So they made a joke that maybe settling on exactly 40, a nice perfect middle ground there, would be the answer. But that's not a concrete thing. It is still being looked into, so we don't have an answer from them yet, but that is the things that they're working on. Moving on from Centurion, we have Gladiator. Gladiator got his reflex guard standardized. Huge positive change because he's now in line with every other assassin. His skewer range was improved for tracking and range, so it now can track farther, and that was seen as a positive by the community. And his lights are actually useful. They did say that these are 466 and 433, and that didn't actually happen. They are still 500 as a flat value. This is an improvement from the 600, but they went back and forth between the 466 and the 500 and decided to stay with the 500. This was an additional note under the other. Thought I should mention it when I mentioned the useful lights. They did say they want to fix the Fushina Inctus knockdown into heavy so that it'll see more utilization. They also wanted to take a look at the deflect versus uninterruptible stance kind of argument. Freeze recently made a video discussing this and how it can actually change things. Gladiator seems to be the one case where this would be a positive for him, but at the same time it's an internal debate as it would change the game significantly and change how uninterruptible stance matters. So they're looking at it. There's no guarantee they're going to change it, and in all likelihood from the language that they used, they're not going to change it, which does mean Gladiator's deflect is going to remain minor. That does sum up most of the thoughts the developers had for the Gladiator. So let's move on to Warlord. The Warlord saw very few changes, so he has very few developer notes. Enhanced lights were good. The earlier heavy finisher uninterruptible stance was good because it meant you could actually use your attacks. And the full block stab improvements are improvements, so people enjoyed them. The developer comments is that a lot of people said that the Warlord changes weren't enough because they were very small. It was just a couple of damage tweaks, some tracking tweaks, and some recovery tweaks. Because of this, the developers have said that they're going to be taking a further look at Warlord and what they can do to him to maybe give him some viability. And as a final note, it has the marker of smaller changes compared to Centurion. And the answer to this is that Centurion was the focus. Warlord was more of a minor buff to see how much minor buffs can actually change a character in the community's perspective. But honestly, they've been pushing for Warlord to have more pressure on 2 attack chains. So what's the point? The chains end as soon as you apply pressure and your pressure's gone. He's in a bit of a weird position because they've been pushing to make him offensive, but he's a defensive focused character. So it ends up being either not enough or way too strong. And there's not a lot of middle ground you can give him, given how strong his defense is. That does end the testing grounds. So with that, I will be signing off. I hope you have a great day. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the battlefield.
I don't fucking know.
I think it spawns in 10 seconds.
How do you know?
They said on the stream it spawns after 1 minute.
Oh.
I think. There's the fucking serpent. Holy shit.
Oh, that's a nice serpent.
Oh, that's an enemy. I'm being beaten up. I was trying to look at the...
Oh shit. Oh, that's the hammer. How did I pick it up? Oh, so I just go and walk up to it.